off his. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm coming at you guys today with a experience kind of video and also like a story and then possibly clips if I'm courageous enough. But basically I wanted to do a video talking about getting my wisdom teeth out and kind of like the before, the after of like, you know, how I was feeling, how it actually ended up happening, just like how like everything in general. I thought it would be really helpful. Actually, my friend Ruby did a video like this and I watched it probably about like 2 weeks before I had my wisdom teeth out, and it just really helped me because I don't know, it was just really cool kind of seeing her progression, so I'll definitely link it down below. I totally want to give her the credit and everything for inspiring this idea. So let's just get into it. I have notes on my phone, so I definitely will be looking down a lot. I have a horrible memory, and if you want this video to be productive, I have to look. So the day before my surgery, that was May 15th, I want to say, I had to take a anti-swelling pill or something like that, basically, to make sure that my mouth would not be super swollen when I got my teeth out. So that was the night before, and I could not eat anything from midnight the night before my surgery, or I guess like the morning of my surgery, until my surgery itself, because I don't know, it's just a thing, everyone can't eat. So I couldn't eat or drink anything except for the morning of my surgery. I was allowed to have a little bit of water with that swelling pill again. So we drove in to get my teeth taken out, and I wasn't really that nervous. I mean, I was obviously a tiny bit nervous just because it's a surgery. It's a little weird. I never had anything like that before. I was never put out with anesthesia before or anything like that, so it was a little bit nerve-wracking, but it wasn't awful, as bad as I thought it would be. I just had my teeth out for, I think it was like 2 years or something. We just kept putting it off. It just kind of wasn't happening for a few years, which, I mean, I wasn't in that much pain, so it wasn't that big of a deal, but I guess for like getting my teeth to be like more grown in, it was more ideal because I had two that were completely grown through. One was impacted and then one was like partially impacted, I think. So it wasn't that bad with actually getting them out because most of them already were poking through my gums, which I heard is like more ideal, obviously. I wasn't really nervous, as I was saying, and get in there. We were probably about like 10 minutes or 15 minutes early. My surgery time I think was 10:15, so it wasn't even that early, which kind of stunk. But I got called in and it was kind of like really abrupt. They were all of a sudden just like, let's go, and I was like, it's like really early for this, but okay. So I went in, sat down in the chair, and actually as I was like walking back to the room, I guess, I looked in the room that you go into right after you have your teeth taken out. They put you like in a bed basically, and I look in and there's my friend from high school, which was kind of strange. She was also there when I had my like consultation a few weeks before that, which was kind of strange. Like we were literally on the same schedule with this place, which was just like, what are the odds? So I go back and I sit in the chair and the nurse is just talking to me, trying to be nice and stuff. And I really wasn't that nervous until they started putting so many wires on me. So they put a little like circular, kind of like almost, you know, the circular band-aids. Yeah, they put like one of those right here that's attached to a wire right here, and then one on the inside of my ankle. They also put a little monitor on my finger, and I feel like they did one other thing too. I forget. But there was just a lot of wires. Like when they were doing all of that, like that's when I started to freak out a little bit because I was like, oh my god. Oh, they also put a little oxygen thing in my nose too. So like that was a little freaky and it kind of was like a little uncomfortable. Basically after she did all of that, the doctor came in. He was just talking to me, having casual conversation, kept telling me how great my friend did out of surgery and just like all that stuff, which I thought was like a little weird because like they kept saying it, but I think they were just like trying to like chill me out maybe because my heart rate was a little high and they were just like, this girl's a little nervous, we'll talk about her friend. So they put my like left arm on armrest and tried to put in the anesthesia IV. I'm not really too sure technical medical terms, but something like that, so I would get kind of tired and, you know, go to sleep basically. So when they were injecting it in me, he asked me a question like, what are you doing for the summer? And I just like kept repeating like I'm gonna try to find a job. Your girl found a job, woohoo. But I was like, I'm gonna try to find a job and go shopping and shopping and shopping, and like that's the last thing I remember because like obviously you can't, when you're like getting anesthesia into your body, like you can't really like think too much. Like I just kept repeating that, so he probably thinks I'm a shopaholic at this point. Accurate, I understand, but still, like I don't want my oral surgeon to think that about me, you know? So that's like the last thing I remember. And they put it like on the inside of my elbow too. I know like it can go in different places, but that's where they put mine. So the next thing I remember is being awake and just like looking around the room. I don't know if I technically remember waking up, so maybe like I had no idea what happened, you know, for like a few minutes, and I was like, you know, obviously like with it, I just like don't remember it because of the drug or what. But first thing I remember asking was the time. But obviously like you have gauze in your mouth and you're really swollen and like not in pain right when you get out of surgery, at least for me, because I was still like on the drugs, but definitely like it's just not the most comfortable thing. So it probably didn't sound like what time is it, but I think it was around 11:15 at that point or something like that. So it was about an hour later, and we just kind of hung out in there for a little bit, me and that nurse. She tells me to walk over to that little room where I saw my friend in earlier in the beds. So I get up and I walk there kind of slowly because obviously you just come out of anesthesia, you want to make sure that you're not going to fall. I get there and I'm like laughing, I'm having a good time, nothing's really, you know, it's out of the ordinary, but it's not like awful. I remember just like thanking the nurses so many times, and eventually she brought my mom and I was like, where's my mom? Can I see my mom? And then they bring in my mom. I start like laughing hysterically, and the nurse told my mom that I was like really nice and stuff, and I kept thanking her for putting Vaseline on my lips. Now guys, I have no recollection of this Vaseline on my lips, and my lips were not moisturized. I don't know if she did this before the surgery or after the surgery. I'm assuming after, but my lips were not moisturized, and I don't remember. She kept saying like, I kept saying, oh, thank you so much for this, like the Vaseline, like no recollection at all. So I don't know what she's talking about. My lips are not moisturized, and I don't remember this happening, but apparently it happened. So that was interesting. I also remember my throat and like my mouth being so dry. I just like wanted water, but like you can't really drink when you're super numb, and you can't use straws for I think the first 48 hours after you get your teeth out, because it's like really bad, and that'll get dry sockets, which is like apparently super painful. Your girl did not get any, just saying. My mom walks me out to the parking lot, I get in the car, and as like we're walking in the parking lot, there are like a few people driving away, walking in the parking lot, whatever, and I was like, I don't want them to see me. It was a really weird experience because like you know what you're saying, like you do understand what you're saying, but you have no filter. Like you don't care what you're saying, you don't care how it sounds. It's just basically like you're super honest, like you don't care what's happening. Because like I do remember thinking like, this kind of sounds weird that I'm doing this or thinking this, but at the same time I was like, what do I care? Why would I care about that? So it's kind of weird. It's just like there's no filter, but you do know what you're doing. I was kind of concerned like how I would be and like how that would feel, and like that's pretty much the best way I can describe it. So we drove to CVS and put our order in, I guess. I don't really know what else you would call it, for the medication, because you can't get that I think until after the surgery because they don't want you to like, you know, be a drug dealer or something. So we had to wait about 15 minutes, and if I feel courageous enough, there was like a dog in a car parked next to us, and when we drove up there was a dog, like his head was out, and I was like so excited because drugged up Brooke saw a dog. I don't know, it was great. And then like after we parked, the dog like sat down. I was trying to like do a, you know, like bird calls, I was trying to do a dog call, so if I'm feeling courageous enough I will insert that video here. Yeah. I don't know why I thought like whoo would be the best way to get a dog. It didn't work, the dog never came back up, but that happened. So after that we got the medication. About 15 minutes later I went home, sat in bed, and I did not nap. I just didn't. People said that you like knock out for hours after, and I literally like could not sleep, so I just watched YouTube, Netflix, that type of stuff. My friend Hannah FaceTimed me, and like that was difficult to talk. Obviously you're not really supposed to talk, so I couldn't talk to her for too long, but it was still nice that she did that. The first thing I ate, I believe, was like baby food and stuff, and keep in mind at this time I started taking my medication, so there is one for pain, one for swelling, and one for like fighting any infections that could happen. So I took the infection one 3 times a day until they were all gone. I finished that a few days ago. And the pain medication, I only took those for the first 2 days because after that I did not take any medication. I didn't even take Advil or anything. And then the swelling one, I took that, I believe it's every morning and night. So I took that just as I had been, and I used to be awful at swallowing pills, but now I'm like actually pretty good at it. So it wasn't that bad. I was numb on my face until about 8 or 9 o'clock at night. So yeah, I was numb for I feel like a while. It was definitely weird because you're touching your face. I have videos of that too. Here you go.
I can't feel my face, and I'm with you. I love it. Oh my god. I can't feel my friend.
I know. I just remember like touching my face and being like really sketched out because you can't feel it, mostly like right here. So like that was really kind of freaky. I would say about like 7 or 8 o'clock the first night is when the numbness wore off, but that's when the pain started. So I was in bad pain. I had written down here. Woke up at 3 a.m. because the pain was so bad. So keep in mind also throughout this time I had ice packs on my face like pretty much like as often as I could, just because like the pain was that bad. And I was on the really intense medication too. So it was excruciating, not gonna lie. For me at least. Everyone is different for sure. And then I woke up at 7 o'clock in the morning and ate, I believe it was eggs or something like that. And then I went and slept until a little bit after 10. So my sleeping was kind of off and just kind of confusing because I think my body was like, ow, you're hurting, do something about it. And I was like, I can't though. So that was really frustrating, and also not being able to eat, that just like made me so mad. Like I just wanted to eat food, and like I think a lot of like the soft foods are mostly sweet and like fruity or something. If you get like applesauce or like whatever, like those types of things are like soft and like fruity and sweet. And I am like more of a salty kind of person. Like if you say like sweet or salty, like I like salty, I like savory, that type of stuff. And I was like sad I couldn't have like savory things. So I would say if you're kind of in the same boat, avocado is awesome. I feel like it's not as like sweet and like that type of stuff, so it's nice to have. It's a nice alternative. So I would say like doing an avocado like smashed up obviously is something to have. That's just like a random thing I ended up eating and I was like, oh my god, this is awesome. So would recommend. Now moving on to day 2, I had bad pain, I kept icing it, and this is kind of gross, but this is a wisdom teeth video, so it's not glamorous. I thought I was swelling really bad back here because I would touch it and like it just felt like huge in the back of my mouth on the top part. So I was like, this is really weird. And I would, you know, touch with my tongue, but my tongue was numb for a really long time after too. I don't think it was unnumb until like the next morning or something. My tongue was numb for a while. Touch to the back of my mouth, and obviously you have stitches and like sensitivity back there, so you don't want to do that too often, but I was like, there is something in the back of my mouth. Now I thought it was food. It wasn't. It was gauze that they put in my mouth after my surgery. Now I had been, you know, putting other pieces of gauze in and out of my mouth because you're bleeding, it's uncomfortable, it's a nice cushion, whatever. So that had been in my mouth for about 24 plus hours, and that's why I was experiencing so much pain. I don't know how it was there. I don't know how I didn't know. This is gross, I understand, but I just want to let you guys know, like, make sure you really can tell if you have the gauze out of your mouth because that's very bad. You're not supposed to sleep in it. You're not supposed to have it when you're eating or drinking probably. So just make sure it's all out. And like, I really did think it was out because it was out of my mouth in the other spots when I took it out, but that part was like really wedged up in there, and I guess like when I was sleeping it started to like fall down, and that's when I could really feel it. So just make sure it's out. And my jawline, like right here, hurt so bad. It was just so sore. That's the best way I could describe it. It was just super sore. And day 3, all I have written down is I was really sleepy. So that's pretty much all I have written down on my phone for, you know, this video. But I would say that after like the pain wore away, after it stopped hurting really bad, it was just very sore for a very long time. Today it is May 29th, starting the 3rd week after surgery. So yeah, I definitely am feeling like pretty good. The only thing is right here, it's a little sore if I touch it. Like, this is really like of my problem, like my kind of issue, but whenever I use my beauty blender right here, it still hurts. But other than that, everything is completely fine. I haven't had really any issues or anything, so that's awesome. If you're nervous, this is not gonna sound that comforting, I don't think, but if you're nervous about like the needles or like the anesthesia or whatever, don't be nervous about that, because when you're actually like awake and with it, that's what you should be nervous about like after, because you know, once you're like drugged and like super like woohoo in the car ride home, that's a fun time. A few hours after that, that's when it all starts to go downhill. Like, this is a lot worse than I thought it would be, and I'm just like being honest here. I did not think it would be this awful. I thought if I was gonna be nervous about anything, it would be like getting knocked out, but it's not a big deal, because if you think about it, you're pretty much in the best location that you could possibly be in case if something medically wrong happens. Why would you be nervous about people who like have a certified degree putting you under? Like, they've done it a million times, they know what they're doing, it's completely fine. So don't be nervous about that. Yeah, I hope this helps you guys, and let me know in the comments below your experience with wisdom teeth, because it's an experience for sure. So thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to subscribe, comment, thumbs up, and all that jazz, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!